Report from Santa Fe is made possible in part by grants from the members of the National Education Association of New Mexico, an organization of professionals who believe that investing in public education is an investment in our state's economic future, and by a grant from the Healy Foundation, Taos, New Mexico.
Hello, I'm Lorene Mills, and welcome to Report from Santa Fe. Our guest today is Dr. Stephen Gamble, the president of Eastern New Mexico University. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Thank you, Lorene.
I am so excited about what you are doing at Eastern, or what's happening at Eastern, because you are making all of the lists. This is some of the things that are going on. You got number one, most affordable in the nation in online education and business degrees, and that's by something called OnlineU. And for universities that go up to a master's, number one in the nation.
Yes, ma'am.
Number 14 in the nation of the fastest growing universities. I mean, you have a record high enrollment, up 60% in the 12 years since.
That's true.
And even this spring, when people are dropping out because of the economy, you still had an increase.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you attribute this to?
A lot of it is the reputation of the school. I think people, especially in our area, when they hear Eastern New Mexico University, they think good thoughts. I think because of the graduates we've turned out throughout the years and the jobs they have done in their communities, word of mouth, I think, is the most powerful advertisement you can have.
Well, you are known for having a really good quality, high-quality education and low tuition. It's just phenomenal in this day and age when the Ivies are getting at stratospheric charges for tuition. And tragically, a lot of young people paid $50,000 a year at the East Coast schools. Come to find out, they graduate, there's no jobs, and student loans are the only kind of debt that is not, you cannot declare bankruptcy on.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
they are,
it's rough.
It's tragic.
Mm-hmm. We're one of the few schools left in the nation that are a 4-year institution that you can attend for less than $5,000 a year in tuition and fees, and we're about $2,480. I think we're getting close to that 5,000 mark ourselves.
Well, USA Today featured you among the 5 best bargains in the nation. This is all national press. This is not New Mexico.
Yes, ma'am. We're very proud.
Or the West. This is nationally. So they said that USA said that Eastern New Mexico University is among the 5 best bargains in America, and in-state tuition and fees come to how much per year?
Right now, $4,880.
Oh, that's great. Mm-hmm. So how do you do it?
Well, we do it by trying not to add on anything to our budget that doesn't help us accomplish our mission. Our mission is very simply to provide the best educational experience we can to the students that come to us. Everything we do is second to that. That's where we put the money. We haven't gone into any kind of learning centers off in somewhere else that are going to take money. We just devote the money we have to our mission, and that's how we're able to keep it inexpensive.
One way I've noticed, and I love the campus, by the way.
Thank you.
You have spent $130 million in renovating the infrastructure and the buildings.
Yes, ma'am, we have.
And new construction would probably use all that up.
Right. We have stayed away from new construction. Since 1989, we have constructed only one new building since 1989 with state money. And that was where KENW, it's our communication building. They were in a sheet metal building, and you can't renovate sheet metal. I don't care how you try, you cannot renovate sheet metal. So we did build a new facility there. Everything else has been renovation.
And also, in terms of the digitalization of the media and broadcasting, it was important for that. Let us say that this show, Report from Santa Fe, has been with KENW for almost 50 years now.
And you're one of the things we brag about.
Well, I brag about being with you all. And another thing, what I've noticed there, if a student gets a broadcasting degree from Eastern and from KENW, they are trained like you can't even get an education like that elsewhere. A person who's interested in broadcasting learns how to be a reporter, an editor, learns how to shoot things, learns how to be an anchor. It's a phenomenal education. And in this day and age where media budgets are being cut, they call it one-man show. I mean, and so these people are getting jobs because
Yes,
they're
ma'am.
so highly trained.
And we've got them from coast to coast in very responsible broadcasting positions. We like to say our students are doing things as sophomores in front of the camera and behind the camera that they might not even get to do as seniors at larger schools.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'd like to say a special shout out to Mr. Ryan, Dwayne Ryan,
Oh, yes.
who has been at his hand at the helm of KENW for all these years.
And look at the result.
Yeah.
It's been a wonderful result.
Yeah, so I'm very proud, and I thank you for that. And also, I remember the old building. It was a sheet metal
It still
temporary
is.
building, and now it's
Yeah.
really a glorious facility.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for that. But you also did, what is the Natatorium?
Natatorium is a fancy name for a swimming pool.
Uh-huh.
And that's one of the many renovations that we have done.
And was that at a PE center or was that at the Student Union?
Neither. It's at a separate facility right in the heart of campus, right on the quad.
Uh-huh. Also, the music building, and you have wonderful concerts there, art and anthro. So, and then I must admit my favorite thing. If a person goes to your website, enmu.edu, they will find all about the various programs you have for graduates, for military, for transfer students, but you will also have, the thing I love is the map of the trees.
The trees. I knew you were getting to the trees.
I love it. I have looked at that map. I've stood
Yeah.
on campus and read about these trees, and it's a beautiful setting, a very bucolic.
Well, even if you wander around our campus, we want you to learn something. So,
Yeah, right. Even a
so we
picnic
give you
on the
the
grass.
opportunity to recognize the trees.
Yeah. So you have some really unusual degrees that you've kind of crafted for yourself. Can you tell me about them?
Well, we have a couple, and then I'll talk about some that were traditional that are strong. We have one that's called the Bachelor of Occupational Education. It's for people that want to teach vocational technical subjects in the high schools. There's not a whole lot of those degrees around. We have a very strong degree in what we, again, consider a unique area that we're proud of. We have another that's called the Bachelor of Applied Arts and Sciences. That's aimed at students that their associate degree would be in maybe something that's vocational technical, which normally those hours wouldn't apply to a regular bachelor's degree. But we take those hours into this bachelor's degree, and it's fully accredited degree for the person that thought their education was ended when they got that associate degree in ceramics or in culinary arts or something like that. They have this opportunity now to get a fully accredited bachelor's. Wow. So we're very proud of both of those.
And the BAAS?
Yes, ma'am. That is the Bachelor of Applied Arts and Sciences.
Oh, okay. And then the
it's,
Bachelor of Occupational Education
yes, ma'am, is the BOE.
Okay, yeah. Masters in Nursing, what's up with that?
Oh, yes. It's a new program. It's off the ground and doing very well. But as you know, we have a nursing shortage in the state. And one of the reasons we have the shortage is we don't have enough nursing teachers in the schools to teach the associate degree. So what we do is we have a bachelor's a master's degree in nursing with an emphasis in instruction. In other words, we are training these nurses to go into especially the two-year institutions to help produce more associate degree nurses in those in the community colleges. A great need. The state gave us some money to start the program, and it's going extremely well.
Another one that's very popular, especially with television watchers, is the forensic science degree.
Yes. The students watch the NCIS shows and things like that. It's one of the most difficult degrees we have. I mean, you've got to take courses in chemistry, in biology, in sociology, and anthropology. So it's really a demanding major. It's probably the fastest growing major we have at the institution.
Really?
And I think television is one of the reasons. But and there's some wonderful jobs out out there for forensics science graduates.
Yeah. Is it true you have your own cadaver?
We have a cadaver lab and cadavers. I think it's plural. I think we
good.
have two.
I'm glad I had to work over one all the time.
Well,
yeah. Yeah. What, in sort of proportionally, what do most of your people graduate with which degree?
Well, I'd say because we're a regional institution, we, to a certain extent, try to be all things to all people, and you can't be, of course. We produce probably the majority of the educators that are teaching in the eastern part of the state. You just can't go into a school district and not find a good number of eastern graduates, starting at the superintendent level, classroom instructor, principal, etc. You go into a community and you look at the people that are the backbone of on the eastern part of the state, the backbone of the economy, the businessmen. Our business program turns out a lot of people. The fine arts, same way. If you want a fine arts experience in the eastern part of the state, you probably need to come visit Eastern New Mexico University. So it's kind of all over the map. I mean, I could go on and talk about more of the majors, but we don't have any that we're not proud of.
You have a special offer for military and military families, don't you?
Well, we do a lot of things for them. Yes, we have a special office for them that's been moved, and right now it's kind of in a state of flux. In a new building that we're developing, though, we're going to devote an entire office to our Veterans Affairs office. We do that. We hire a lot of military spouses. They're very good workers. We know in many cases we're only going to have them for 2 or 3 years, and then they're off to their next assignment. But we really try to hire as many as we can, because they're just wonderful workers and great, just great people. We also have an opportunity for our people to. This sounds minor, but it's important to us. We waive any kind of admissions fees to any of our athletic events. I mean, if you show a military ID, if it's a retired or if it's National Guard, Air Force Reserve, or active duty, you and your family can come see them. We're very military friendly, and we've been identified as a military friendly school in the publications.
Since you've mentioned athletics, I have watched this drive to have a new stadium for you all.
Yes, ma'am.
So where does it stand in that?
Well, we're just we're not far, just a couple months away from breaking ground. To do the type of stadium that we really think we deserve and we want, we need between $12 and $13 million, and we've been able to secure that amount of money. It won't be anything the equivalent of the University of Texas or UNM, but it will be a very good Division II stadium and one we'll be very proud of. We had gotten to the point with our current stadium, it was taking us a lot of money just to limp along, make improvements just to get a couple more years out of it. It wasn't, or it's not located on campus, and we really want the stadium to be on campus. So we just swallowed hard and said we're going to go out and raise the money to do this. It's been really rewarding to see how many friends and alumni we have at Eastern that would support this.
Well, we're speaking today with President Stephen Gamble of Eastern New Mexico University. The other thing I love about your athletic program is your mascots.
Oh, yeah, Vic and Tori.
The Go Greyhounds. These are 2 actual greyhounds.
They are wonderful, the most gentle dogs you're ever going to find. We're just so fortunate to have them.
Well, it's quite charming to see their pictures there, and I've gotten a lot of literature about the stadium, and I thought, Oh,
no, that's part of who we are. But at graduation ceremonies, which we do where we play basketball in the big Greyhound arena, the dogs come out and lead the graduates out.
Oh, wow.
Of the ceremony. I mean, it's really quite a sight.
Yeah. Hey, how did you end up at Eastern? Tell me a little about your background.
Well, I graduated from high school in Big Spring, Texas, which is, there's not a whole lot of difference between West Texas and Eastern New Mexico. Went in the military for a while, came back to West Texas. I accepted a job in Arkansas as president of Southern Arkansas University. I was there for 10 years, a state-supported master's level school, like Eastern, really. Good people, good mission. But when I had an opportunity to come back to this part of the world, namely Eastern New Mexico, I did. I applied for the job and was very fortunate that I guess all the other good candidates pulled out, and I was, for all I know, I was the only one left standing. But they offered me the job, and I took it, and I've been here 14 years. It'll be 14 years this summer.
And your degree is in American history, right?
Yes, 19th century U.S. history is my specialty if anybody's interested.
Well, it's nice to learn from history. There's a lot, even in the job of being a president of a university, that you can benefit from the wisdom of our founding fathers and our elders.
I think so. In my case, just from the people that were the immediate past presidents, people like Bob Metheny and Everett Frost. They prepared the foundation that the school still is based on. And they probably would say the same thing about the presidents that they inherited the school from.
So that's the bricks and mortar part. I'm fascinated with the online stuff, that you are named the most affordable online university in the nation. So when did you move into online, and how do you structure something, in the cloud and the internet's like that?
Well, I would say we've been in it for about 7 to 8 years, but it has grown, and it's new still to a whole lot of students to sign up for their first online course. We have some students in South Korea, for example, that everything they do is online. We have others that are just in our residence halls, right, a minute and a half from where the class is being taught, that prefer to take it online. The more savvy, technologically savvy and computer savvy today's students are, the more they're wanting online. We have some degree programs that you can take 100% of the coursework online. You have others that you can take most of it. But we've got virtually our whole general education, the basic requirements they all have to have. We've got those online for the students. It's been very popular for some of the faculty. It's kind of the old dog and the new trick, but they have really taken to it, worked hard at it, and we're just proud of the product. We can honestly look anyone in the eye and say that we cannot determine a difference in the preparation of a student that has a degree that was online from one that was sitting in the classroom. I mean, they have the same competencies, they have the same requirements that they have to meet, and it's just every day it's more and more of our future.
You have had some international outreach, too?
Oh, we have.
Can you talk about these students in South Korea taking it online?
Well, certainly. Now, they would probably be American military there. But what we do have is we have we have approximately 150 international students there. I would guess probably 80 to 90 of those are from People's Republic of China. We do recruit there to get the students to come. They tend to be very, very wonderful people and very bright people. And they are here, they're focused when they come. I mean, it's rare that any of those students encounter academic difficulties because, they are there to learn and get that degree and go back to China. A degree from an American university is very valued in China, very much so.
And I love that they are living in Portales and really enjoying, really the American, lovely way of living in America.
Well,
it's a lovely community.
They get to know Walmart really well because that's the first place we take them because they need to buy bedding and things like that. And they're just really good people. We're glad to have them.
One of your other hats is with the Council of University Presidents. I think you're vice chair.
Oh, yes.
So that is the presidents of all 7 four-year institutions.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm sure you have a lot of discussions there about trends in higher ed.
We do, and a lot of talks about how to approach the legislature, what we want to promote in a legislative session and what we want to defend against. Dan Lopez is kind of the president for life. So just because I'm vice president doesn't mean I will ever ascend to be president. It's always going to be Dan. But he gives us wonderful leadership in that capacity. We think it's important to come in thinking, but also speaking as one voice about what's important for higher education, as opposed to every university coming up trying to do their own thing.
I'm sure there have been a lot of conversations about the lottery scholarships and what's happening. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us a little about that?
Well, yes, even though everything I tell you could change before this airs. But the lottery scholarship, first of all, is one of the most generous things I've ever seen a state do for its citizens. I mean, it really makes such a difference in the lives and the ability of a number of students to even come to college. It pays 100% of tuition. Now, this year, it went for the first time ever below 100% of tuition. It went down, but it's still like 95%. The future could be that it continues to decline in terms of its value. In other words, it could drop down to 90%, 80%, 75%. Whatever it goes to, it is still a very generous opportunity for the students of the state of New Mexico. There are various bills in that would modify the lottery that the legislature is hearing this session. We don't know how it's going to end up, but however it ends up, we know it's going to work because we'll make it work for the good of the students that truly want the education, are willing to earn the grade point to keep the lottery, to get and to keep the lottery. They don't get it the first semester. They have to earn it by passing 12 hours, which is 4 courses basically, and earning between a B and a C average. That's a 2.5. So it's not anything they get for free. They earn it that first semester. And then from then on, providing they can maintain their grades, they can keep it up till essentially graduation, 7 semesters longer.
And we should say that we're taping the last little bit of the session, and I think this is going to air the night the session ends. And there have been bills. I think Senator Smith had a bill that you could actually buy lottery tickets.
Yes, ma'am.
With your credit card when you were a debit card, not credit card, when you were getting gas, and just doing ways to make it easier and easier for people to participate, always with letting them know that this is for the education of New Mexican kids.
No, the legislature's doing all it can to protect it. The problem is there's not enough money to go around for hardly anything now, and the lottery scholarship is included in that group.
Well, higher ed in New Mexico has always come to the legislature with the premise that education is an investment, not an expense.
Yes, ma'am. We
and
believe
to
that
keep
thoroughly.
investing and to keep investing. And there's been a lot of turmoil about education in general, but everything comes back down to economic development, jobs. It all comes back to education.
It does, and we understand our role in economic development and the STEM discipline, science, technology, engineering, math, and we add health to that as well. And we're doing our best to graduate those people. For the first time ever this year, we believe we will go above 1,000 graduates in 1 year. 6 years ago, we were barely above 500. So we are really proud to see that we have advanced in that way.
Well, we're celebrating a lot of your advancements, but what are your plans for the future?
Well, for the school, we have a lot of things we want to do with our campus. For example, we have money from a GO bond that just passed in 2014. We're hoping to get additional funds in 2016 to renovate basically the last major building on campus that we haven't renovated, and that's the Golden Library. We want to get $26 million total. We're putting up $4 million. We're hoping to get the remainder from the state to convert it into not just the library, but a student success center, where we would put that veteran center I was talking about, where we would put tutoring center, we would put the type of activities and functions that the students need to graduate, to help them graduate in that one facility. So that's probably the biggest thing, along with the stadium on our horizon.
And what's the timetable for that library?
More
or less.
We're in the process of hiring an architect right now. I would say we're probably close to a year away from actually beginning construction with it, because again, we want to tie next year's GO bond funds to it as well. I'm talking about the 2016 GO bond.
Well, one thing that anyone in politics here knows is that libraries get money. I mean, that's the one way everyone wants to be running for office at an election, when there's a library bonds, because people will come out and support their libraries. Yeah. Are there any other issues that come up with the Council of University Presidents or among your other educational colleagues that our audience should be thinking about?
No, it's if you look at what's affecting the nation nationally, it affects us too. We are frustrated by the amount of remediation that we need to do with students that come to us. We also want to have good remediation programs, because if they need it, they need it. And that's kind of a dichotomy. In other words, that's kind of a dilemma for us to try to work through. On the one hand, we don't want to do it. On the other hand, we know we've got to do it.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. And we talk about what's going on nationally there and how we can adopt or actually adapt best practices that are working in other states to help us do a better job with remediation, do a better job turning out STEM graduates, do a better job in making sure that our students are prepared for that first job out of college. I mean, that's a challenge. But those are the things we talk about. Those are the things we're trying to do better. And they're the things that we know are important to the state, but I hope the state knows they're important to us too. We want to do it, and we want to do it right.
What are some ideas from other states in terms of remediation? Because everybody's facing this.
Well, there is a trend more to self-paced remediation that's all technology-driven. And again, with today's student coming out being as savvy and literate as they are with technology, this could be the answer. Right now, we still, for the most part, are taking them into a remedial math class, for example, with an instructor up front and going, in the traditional way. That works to a certain extent, but not as much as we would like. Another thing that's a national trend is trying to reduce the number of hours it takes to graduate. A number of the schools in the state, not all, but a number have gone from 128 hours required to graduate to 120.
Yeah.
Now, we haven't eliminated the general ed, the things you've got to have to do it, but we're trying to eliminate electives. We're trying to just give students a shorter route to graduation. More and more students are coming in with dual credit. Dual credit is becoming very, very large. We find it's wonderful. I mean, I was skeptical at first, high school students getting college credit, et cetera. But it makes a difference. You can line up 5 students, let me talk to them for 5 minutes, and I'll tell you who probably took dual enrollment and who didn't.
Yeah.
There's a difference in attitude, there's a difference in confidence, and there's ultimately a difference in preparation for the next class.
And we're going to have to leave it there because we have run out of time. But I'm so proud of what what Eastern is doing under your leadership.
Well,
and I really want to thank you.
A lot of people working hard there. I just try to stay out of their way for the most part.
I know. Our guest today is Dr. Steve Gamble, president of Eastern New Mexico University. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And I'm Lorene Mills. I'd like to thank you, our audience, for being with us today on Report from Santa Fe. We'll see you next week.
Past archival programs of Report from Santa Fe are available at the website reportfromsantafe.com. If you have questions or comments, please email info@reportfromsantafe.com. Report from Santa Fe is made possible in part by grants from the members of the National Education Association of New Mexico, an organization of professionals who believe that investing in public education is an investment in our state's economic future, and by a grant from the Healy Foundation, Taos, New Mexico.